So anyway, so there you're here. Now you're in a rehab, right, Mom? Right? This is it's the 14th of January, 2012, right? And you had a heart attack and everything, but you're doing pretty good, right? And we're hopefully getting you out of here pretty soon. So we're recording this so that we could have it down on video about the past, you know, like what happened and the dates and stuff like that. So why don't you start off telling me like where you were born and you had the address and...
Okay. I was born on 52 Oliver Street in New York City, which was part of Little Italy. And I lived across the street from the Catholic high school. Granny didn't have much money because Grandma's name was Rose. Grandpa's name was Serafino Amadeo. He had a wanderlust. He was an intelligent man. He built one of the first cell radios, and with somebody. No, I won't say by the name Marconi, but I'm not sure.
Well, no, that was, yeah, Marconi.
I'm not sure what that was his name.
He worked on that?
Yeah.
Okay, well, why don't you tell us about him? Like, he and your mom got separated, right? First of all, did Granny have a middle name?
Rose Veronica.
Rose Veronica, that's right. And her maiden name was Galicio, right?
Galicio.
Okay. Now, your father, he came from Sicily. He was born in Sicily.
Yes.
Okay, now.
My mother's family, my mother was born in America, but her family was born in Calabria. And
Now, do you know where Granny was born? What part of this? You don't know where she was born exactly, right?
in America, in the upper New York City.
Okay, upper Manhattan, right?
Upper Manhattan.
Okay.
And
So tell us about your father. So your father was born in Sicily and moved over here. And tell us about his father.
his father,
His name.
his father owned a tobacco store, an Italian tobacco store, Ginobili Tobaccos, and he also traveled to Ellis Island to help people get from Italy into America. And he died in 1921. So before 1921, he one time went to Washington, D.C. to plead for somebody to get into America. So that must have been quite a trip in those days. So he's probably listed somewhere as in Ellis Island.
Well, he was like a kind of a big deal, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And didn't he have a fancy funeral?
He had a funeral with a cortege that was blocks long. And this was told to me. He had brothers named Angelo, who was a painter.
Now, this is your father had brothers, or your grandfather had brothers? Uncle Angelo, or would it be a great uncle?
It was Uncle Angelo.
So he was your father's brother.
Yeah. Angelo, Carlo.
Now, do you know what your grandfather's name, your father's first name was?
It was Joseph.
Joseph Ozaka? Okay, and he was probably from Sicily, I guess, obviously, if the son was.
Yeah.
And stuff, okay. And so your father had, what, you said, two brothers, or? Do you remember?
Angelo, Carlo. I think they both went to California.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Okay. So what kind of a guy was your father, now? He was sort of a playboy type, I guess, a little bit.
He was a wanderlust.
Where did he wander to?
Lots of places, California included, I think. And he had a sister named Giovannina or Jenny.
Okay. His sister?
Jenny.
Okay. Or a mistress?
But
Didn't you have a mistress?
he might have.
I think her name was Jenny, wasn't it? Or something? Or...
His sisters all stayed in good touch with my mother, even though he had left my mother. I think he had a mistress, I'm not sure.
In Boston or something. I thought you might have told me.
Yes. Wait a minute.
Do you remember her name?
Wait, my sister told me her name.
Wasn't it your first name or something?
No. Was it Bernadette?
No, what's your first name? Josephine, right?
Josephine? Yeah.
Your first name's really Josephine, right?
Yeah, I think so.
What is your whole name? Why don't you tell me your whole name?
Eleonora?
No, it wasn't a Josephina, Eleanor?
Josephine Eleanor.
Bernadette?
Bernadette was my confirmation name.
Oh, what was your middle name?
Josephine Eleanor.
Oh, okay. Was oh, by the way, we should tell the home audience too.
What?
That you do not have your bottom dentures in, that you normally have teeth down there, but they broke them and lost them.
Yeah.
So, the audience should forgive you for that. Anyway, so your father did. Okay, so also, didn't he do something with Pancho Villa? Didn't he fight Pancho Villa and go to Alaska? Your father, I remember stories.
He went to Alaska. I don't know if it was Alaska. He traveled a lot. And he once had to perform an appendectomy by telephone or something.
On somebody in Alaska.
On somebody in Alaska.
I wonder if it had to do with the radio, because he was on the radio.
Or maybe radio.
Might have been. And then he fought in the Spanish-American War or something in Mexico, or the Mexican...
He might have.
Okay, I heard something about him fighting Pancho Villa at one point. And then what was it? He was also, wasn't he a beatnik?
A beatnik?
Yeah. Well, wasn't he? You told me once he was the mayor of Greenwich Village.
Yes.
Like, not an official mayor, though. But...
Yes. And one time, my mother had my sister write to him and say that she thought we deserved some support from him. And he said he would support us if she took us to see him. And she did. And in Greenwich Village. And my sister said, why are you taking us there? He has women's clothes in his closet. And then she stopped taking us.
I see.
And he once gave us each a wristwatch with a black cloth wristwatch band. And that was about it.
Okay, not much else. Now, where did he die?
In California.
California?
And it was after I got married, but I think
Do you know what town?
No, wait a minute.
Or Alaska? I thought it was Alaska.
I don't remember. I know my cousin called me up and told me that after I got married, that, no, wait a minute. My sister first asked me if I was going to call him and tell him I got married. And I said no, he was going to think that he had the right to give me away. And he didn't have the right because he never owned me. And then my cousin called me up and I said that I wasn't going to call him I got married.
Mm-hmm.
And
So he didn't come to you, but he died in 1952, I think, didn't he? He died the year I was born.
He died
years.
after I was married, I
Right.
think.
And I believe it was 19, but I never met him. And I guess you hadn't seen him for a long time. Right?
No.
And we don't know why.
I saw him, the first time I saw him, I remember just seeing people's knee. He had just come back, and I was so small, I just saw people's knees.
Okay. Now, didn't he know some actress or something? He was
Yes.
famous. Like not Lillian Gish, but somebody like that.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Okay. So he was hanging around in Hollywood, I guess.
Hmm.
Okay. So he sounds all right. Okay. So what else where else did you live in New York after you were born? Where else?
Well, in Little Italy, and then we moved to Brooklyn.
Is that where there was a gas heat or gas lights?
No, in New York City, I had gaslight.
And your first place that you lived, right?
Yeah,
Wasn't that like some remarkable rent? Or something?
$8 a month.
$8 a month. Free gas, I guess. Free gas lights.
Well, we had toilet in the hallway, which we had to share with the neighbor. No bathroom. We had to take our baths in a wash tub in the kitchen with water on the gas stove.
And that was the apartment building. It was like built in the Civil War or something, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and
So Granny continued to be a secretary, I guess, for the church and stuff. And then
Right.
what school? What was the name of your grammar school?
St. Joseph's.
St. Joseph's Grammar. Okay, but you went to public school first, right? Didn't you? Or no? I thought.
No, I went to public school first. That's right. And the teacher used to, if I did anything wrong, she'd pull me up by my hair, from the seat by my hair. And I told my mother, and my sister wanted to go to Catholic school. And my mother couldn't take off from work. So she told my aunt Emma, I think it was, and she was coming into school, and teacher had just sent me to the board to make the capital I, and instead of making it like that, I had made it like that, and when I went back to my seat, she pulled me up by my hair, and I was crying when Aunt Emma walked in.
Okay.
And I was crying, and that's when my mother moved us to Catholic school.
Okay. All right. So that was St. Joseph's School. Then,
Yeah.
right?
I think
Okay.
it was.
Yeah. Okay. Now, what was Granny? Now, who was? Tell me about her parents. What were her parents' names?
Galicio,
Galicio, or that was their last name, right? That was Granny's. Okay. And what was her father's name? Her first name?
Salvatore.
Salvatore. Okay. And then her mom's name, her grandmother's name. And they were probably from Italy, I guess, right?
Yeah. And
And he was a painter, you said?
I think,
Okay.
and I know they sent Aunt Dorothy up there, I think for the summer, because the climate was better.
Where's up there?
The Bronx.
Oh, the Bronx. Okay. Because the Bronx probably wasn't all a city. It was
It was,
farms, maybe, or fields.
yeah, they had a farm.
Oh, they had a farm. Okay. Granny came from a farm then.
Well, I don't know whether it was a real farm. They had vegetables and stuff.
So maybe it was just a house out, sort of.
It was a house and,
But it wasn't in a city, real city.
yeah. And I guess maybe they sent me there for the summer or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that would be a good idea. Yeah. So what were Granny's like brothers and sisters' names?
Joseph, Louis, Mary. Oh, and her father didn't want his children named after, no, her mother didn't want her children named after her. So her father named them Mary and Rose.
Wow.
And one was Rose and one was Mary.
Oh, okay, okay.
But
Do you remember what her mother's maiden name was?
Sconza.
Sconza, okay. All right. Now, you don't remember before that. You don't know your great-grandparents' names or...
Sconza, I guess.
But I mean, like their parent, like your grand...
No.
Okay, okay.
But you could look it up, I guess, in
Right.
genealogy.
Right, yeah. Well, there's that. You know, we just want to see what you know here right now. And then, so who were the, like Aunt Fanny and all that? Like they were not blood relatives. Aunt Fanny was married to...
Aunt Fanny married Uncle Louis.
Okay.
No.
So they were like in-laws.
Yeah, I guess. But Aunt Fanny liked me because I was more like her than her daughters were.
In what way was that?
More vivacious. Her daughters were stick-at-homes. Yeah, she used to invite us up to her country house.
Oh.
And she'd invite me up and she'd say, stay another week. Yolanda goes out more when you're here. If not, she's just sick at home. And I was more like her.
So they sound like they might have had a little money. They lived in the country.
They lived up in the Catskill Mountains.
Oh, okay. All right. Did they have money or what? I mean, what were they doing up there?
Well, let's see, what she married. He married Aunt Sophie. And he married Aunt Sophie's daughter. He was Aunt Sophie's son.
Okay.
And Aunt Sophie, I think she had a farm. And one time, we used to play up in the stone houses. They were stones, nice flat stones. And we could say one was a bed and one was a table. And we used to pick one of them up. And I picked one of them. I said, this would make a nice table. And I noticed a hornet's nest under it. And I dropped it. And the hornet bit me. And I remember yelling and running down and Aunt Sophie putting mud on my back to kill the bee stings.
So even though you lived in the middle of New York City, you still got out to the country, like to the Catskills and stuff like that. And they sent you at summer camp sometimes.
Well, I was a counselor at summer camp. And then I went to summer camp and later I was a counselor there. I remember we used to sing, my mom, I love her, my mom, you love her. Who wouldn't love her, my mom?
So you skipped a grade, didn't you? What grade did you?
I skipped from 2A to 3A. First place, I started early because my birthday was in November. Mm-hmm. So I started early and then I skipped from 2A to 3A. And the nuns always had me doing things early in school. I always had the highest grade in my class. Mm-hmm. And the nuns always, and I recited a poem, and he kissed me, and it was
tell him, say who it was.
Pope Pius XII.
Yeah, but he wasn't the Pope then, right?
He wasn't then, but a few years later.
Now, do you remember the poem?
Yeah, I still remember it in detail.
Okay, why don't you tell us?
Baciar lasciarmi la mia bandiera, che del mio sangue rosseggio ancora, e l'orgoglio della mia schiera, sti soldati del nome che muore. Ostia soldati del nome che muore, uh, leave me my flag, which I, which I died for.
Okay. All right. Well, if you don't remember, that's still pretty good knowing that, after all the. And how old were you then?
12,
12.
12 and a half or something. And then I was about 12 too when I gave the valedictory speech in Italian,
This is like graduating 8th grade, I guess.
8th grade.
Okay. So then you went to high school. Tell us, where did you go to high school?
Cathedral High School.
Okay. Which
And that's why I was allowed to get married at Cathedral College.
in St. Patrick's. It was a.
Cathedral.
Right.
Right.
It was the high school that was attached to St. Patrick's Cathedral.
Yeah.
Right. Because you had a wedding that looked like a Kennedy wedding
Oh, yeah.
for somebody that was supposedly poor
Yeah.
and stuff. So, but wasn't it? It must have been expensive just to get the dress. I mean, even that. Where'd you get all the money for that kind of?
I think it only cost me $80.
Oh, well, even that was expensive then, no, wasn't it? That was like a couple weeks' pay, I would think.
I don't know. But it made sense because Daddy's family lived in the Bronx. I lived in Brooklyn. We had relatives in Long Island and friends.
Well, then wait a minute. How come you went to Cathedral High then, if you lived in the Bronx?
Because it was a free high school, and you only had to be in the top 1/4 of your class and pass an entrance exam.
Okay, so this wasn't a regular parish school then. It was a
No.
it was a special school,
Right.
like an advanced.
It wasn't like Camden Catholic.
Right, right. It was an all girls school.
Yes.
Okay. And what were the boys out of luck, or they must have had a boys' school, didn't they?
Yes, they had, they had an all-boys school, but I don't know if it was a Catholic one. It was, I know somebody that went to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, whatever. Well, let's skip ahead then too. So anyway, so you went to high school, and then you went to college too, right?
Yeah. Well, the college was a free college. New York colleges were free. You had to be in the top 1/4 of your class.